Hello and welcome to a Unity of Las Vegas. My name is Jim Lee. So glad that you're here. We're in the midst of a series here. It is entitled Reinventing God, New Age Spirituality. And we're pushing the edge a little bit today because the title of the talk is Revisiting, guess what? Good and Evil. This is a new role for the ego. So as we get ready for this, open your minds and open your hearts, as Don will now be leading us in a special reading entitled Wholeness and Boldness. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Don Fouts, and I am honored to be bringing today's daily word. The word for today is wholeness, and the affirmation, as the universe, I am ever awakening to my wholeness. When I see a large tree with its branches spread out and filled with beautiful leaves, I choose to see the bigger picture, realizing there is more to the tree than my five senses can perceive. Its leaves and branches sway freely in the wind, while its roots are anchored deeply into the ground, providing a firm foundation of sustenance. Similarly, when I look at my body, in truth, I know that there is much more to me than this physical form. My wholeness comprises the totality of my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual natures. I bless and appreciate each aspect of my being, knowing that each is an indispensable part of the wholeness that I am. My roots run deep in this spiritual awareness. There is only this one life going on, this one loving, all-giving, perfect intelligence, and I am one perfect pattern of infinite potential. When I find myself in resistance in this three-dimensional realm called human experience, it can appear like crisis. It appears like problems. It appears like bad things. But as I focus on my oneness, I discover that in fact, all of who I am and the world around me is really a conspiracy of good, a conspiracy of wholeness. I find rest in the awareness that the entire universe is conspiring to awaken me to my full potential and set me free. Once again, the affirmation, as the universe, I am ever awakening to my wholeness. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
Oh, thank you, Don. Well spoken, my friend. Great to see you here. And good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride as well. We want you to know that we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ consciousness in each of you this morning. If you haven't yet done so, hit those subscribe and notification buttons below and share us with your families and friends, won't you? For our song today, we're kicking it old school. This is an old Johnny Nash song called I Can See Clearly Now. I hope you enjoy.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Oh yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone. that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Look all around, it's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, it's nothing but blue sky. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Sunshiny day. Sunshiny day.
Thank you, John. Yes, we're going to need to see clearly now because we're taking a look at good and evil from a different point of view. We're going to take a look at the ego from a different point of view. Because in this three-dimensional reality called the human experience, Lord have mercy, we've got evil everywhere. I just wish it was localized in one particular place, but no, it's everywhere. And what I like to use as a symbol, on the one hand, we've got good, and I would say that's like a Mother Teresa, who is all about giving life and sharing life and supporting life. And then on the other hand, symbolized by, I would say, Adolf Hitler, which is evil, is doing just the opposite, trying to take life and destroy life. But also there's all kind of people today that appears to have this quality that's really not healthy for us. And how can we move beyond this? And clearly we can see that there is actually good that's happening and there is actual evil that's present. However, we want to see differently. We want to take a look. Let's look at through the eyes of what I would call spiritual metaphysics and affirm that, you know what, there's only one presence, there's only one power in the universe, and it's everywhere, and it's God. And God's nature is absolute good. So if God is everywhere, and God is good, and God loves us, where on earth did all of this evil come from? And how are we going to move forward? Well, today we're revisiting it, and I want to discover something, that there is a wholeness and a oneness that's present. And as we take a look at this, we can see that really there is a conspiracy for good, a conspiracy for wholeness. And this is not a conspiracy theory or fake news that I'm talking about. It is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And in the book of John, I want to declare this, and let's hold on to this to be true, that all things work for good for those that love God. So, this means that evil maybe is not what we think it is. So let's start off with the beginning. Let's take a look and see if we can unravel this whole thing called evil and Satan and all of this stuff that's plaguing us as a human species. From the very beginning in the book of Genesis, God created everything. And guess what? It was all good in God's neighborhood. In the beginning, there was this wholeness and oneness, and even science is saying that in the beginning, there was this single point of wholeness, and then from the singularity came a big bang, and everything spread out, but it was still in divine order, and there was this oneness presence. And then in the book of Genesis, something happened. Eve ate the apple, or the fruit, and she ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and then something happened. All hell broke loose. And I was taught in the Bible that that was the biggest mistake ever. We plunged into a world of good and evil after she gave it to Adam, and we plunged into a world of duality. And it became a real manifestation in our consciousness. And some people will say, gosh, yes, is it really real? And I'm here to testify that, yeah, evil is real, because I've been robbed several times and guns pointed at me, and I've looked in the eyes of someone who was evil and meant to do evil. So this is not a figment of our imagination. Now, I want to take a look at this because it is real. So now, how can we experience wholeness and the goodness of God when actually there's evil? There's some bad people out there. And if we take a look at the origin now and unravel this a bit, the early Hebrews and I would say going back 5,000 years, they believed that everything came from God, both the good things and the things you don't like, the bad things. The good came from God when they obeyed the laws and they were true to God's commandments. And evil, that was the dark side of God that fell upon them when they displeased God by violating the laws. And it was God who brought the flood that eradicated most of the planet. It wasn't a Satan, and it wasn't considered evil. That was all God's doing. And then, and we take a look at the book of Job, the 2nd chapter and the verses 6 to 12, there's a little story. Now, Job was a good man. God loved him. And as the story goes, that God was like having a conference, so to speak, in heaven. Everybody was there, all of the saints and angels and whatnot, and including the adversary called Satan. And God was walking by and he looked over at Satan. He says, "Hey, Satan, what's up, my man? How you doing?" Satan said, "Everything's all right." And then God said, "Hey, Satan, have you checked out my man Job? Isn't he outstanding? Isn't he just absolutely wonderful?" Satan said, "Oh, no, he's not. He's not all that. You think he's that, but you baby him. You take good care of him. Let me poke him a little bit, and he will denounce you, and he will repudiate you, and you will see that he's not all that good. And God said, oh no, not my Job. In fact, I'll let you do that, and I will prove it to you. Well, after that, sure enough, all hell broke loose for Job. Interesting story. Biblical scholars say that the original narrative did not have this verse of Satan in it. In the original scripture, it was God, quote, Yahweh himself, that stricken Job. So originally, all that hell that broke loose, that was God's doing. It was a later editor that inserted that verse that had this figure of an evil Satan come in that was doing all of that, but not originally. Where did that come from? Well, the biblical scholar says that in 587 BC, after conquering Jerusalem, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon took many Jews to what is now called the Babylonian exile. There, they ran across one of the oldest religions on the planet. It's called Zoroastrianism. And it was a religion that dealt with polytheism. So they had two gods. They had a God that was good and a God that was bad, and they constantly clashed with one another, vying for power. Well, the Hebrews and the Jews at that particular time had lost several battles. They were down, and their empire being destroyed, and they said, this can't be the good God Yahweh. There must be something else. And so that aspect of Zoroastrianism filtered into the religion, so that now what gave birth was an evil entity, and they named it Satan. And that exposure created what we would now look at is called the evilness that is opposing God, because that concept now filtered into the theology. There was now a God that had an enemy. So as we move forward now, we realize that that is not the truth, that originally there was a holism. So that meant that what was happening that was good and what was happening when it was bad was actually collaborating together for something else. Same thing happened. The ego. We have within us now this ego, and the term is edging God out, just like Satan. And we are working to eliminate this egoic aspect of ourselves, because it is our lower selves, and sometimes it is our shadow work that we're trying to get rid of, and we're looking to express our higher self. And in order to express our higher self, we must eliminate this ego or the lower self. Well, you know what? What we resist persists. The ego is there. We are cutting off a part of ourself, and we are looking at it wrong. We are now looking at and trying to eliminate and shooting a messenger that's delivering us a message, and because we don't see it right, it looks like the absolute horrible thing that's within us, but really, that's not what's happening. I want us to take a breath here and take a look at, because what I'm saying is we are really not seeing everything the way that it could be. Now I invite us to revisit this ego, revisit evil, and want to look at it from another lens. Let's look at it through the lens of love. What do I mean? I want us to choose to look at this through love. In the Course in Miracles, it says this: God is in everything that I see. God is still everywhere and in everything forever. And we who are part of him will yet look past all appearances and recognize the truth beyond all of them. So all of these appearances and occurrences, I am inviting us now to take a deep breath and allow love to fall on it so that we can see that just maybe, I just want you to open up to just maybe there's something is occurring, quote unquote, evil. Something is occurring, quote unquote, the ego. This in service of the divine, but the only way we can see it, the only way it can appear in our life, the only way it can occur is that we take a moment and say, I'm going to extend love here, be present to this, open my mind, open to my heart so that I can see something different. There was a lady that I like, and she has this quote, and it says, I am thankful for my struggle because without it, I wouldn't have stumbled across my strength. By the name is Alexandra Ellie. It is because of what is going on here, what we call this struggle, there's something ready to move forward. It's like the caterpillar is then moving into a butterfly. There's something goes on in the struggle here that we, through the eyes of love, can see and benefit from. So let's take a look at this from a point of wholeness, point of embracing all parts of us. And once we can do that, start loving the parts, loving the parts, loving the parts. Now, what do I mean by loving them? It doesn't mean that we condone all kind of horrible acts and all of that. It doesn't mean that we just accept all of the things that we don't like and all of that. But what we do is embrace it as a whole part of us, and together something happens that mixing together, something can emerge that was designed to emerge, that's even better for us, but it wouldn't be there if we didn't have that opposing force. That opposing force is actually a force for good. I know it hurts because I don't like it either. And that's the other point. You don't have to like it. You're not supposed to like it. If you're feeling hurt and angry and whatnot, that's the whole point of it. Take that, love that, and once we do this inclusiveness, something happens that you never thought of. It's like hydrogen and oxygen coming together, and next thing you know, we got some water. Unexpected. All of the things that's going on inside of us, we can heal them with love. And look, I'm here to testify that this is the honest to God truth. You can't defeat love. Love is undefeated in everything. It's like, put love through it and something magnificent will happen. It's like love comes up to bat at like a baseball game, and love says, watch this. Love doesn't hit just a home run. Love hits a grand slam. Everybody comes home. Everybody wins. Now, there is a quote that I like, and it is entitled this, until one is committed. And it goes like this: until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment, I want to say this again, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets, and it is this: whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Who said that? William Murray. So I'm inviting us today, to take a step. Be committed to love. Be committed to wholeness. No matter what goes on, be committed and then see what happens. In unity, our fifth basic principle is this. You know what? It works when you work it. And then what it says, you will know the truth because the truth always works. So I'm inviting us not just to try it on, just to see if it fits. And if it doesn't, then lay it aside. All manner of things. Be committed now to wholeness and to love. Apply it into a life. And let's see what can occur. It's time to revisit this. Good and evil, no more clashing. Good and evil are fitting together for a higher purpose. The ego is inside of us and it's all bad sometimes, but it's there pointing to something that there's a healing can take place and lift us up to a grander place than we could ever imagine. Love is the order of the day. Wholeness is what we're about, and that's the truth that will set us free. And now Lisa will guide us through a fabulous meditation.
How far is the reach of divine love? It's easy for us to imagine love extending out to the far edges of the universe. But can we also hold in our hearts a love that touches the depths of our humanness, the unknown shadow parts, even embracing our egos? An important developmental milestone for humanity is our ability to differentiate between the higher self and the ego. For years, many of us have been on a path to diminish or even eradicate the ego, in favor of a fuller expression of the higher self. But what many of us have discovered is that what we resist persists, and we find parts of ourselves left out and longing for acceptance. These shadow aspects of ourselves and of the world are sometimes referred to as our dazzling darkness, in that they really contain invaluable information. Each has within it a beautiful pearl. So in this inclusion and excavation process, we give the ego a new role, where it is now in service to love. And in so doing, a powerful healing occurs, bringing our unique expression of love in the world into fuller potency. What we previously called evil is now in service to good, making everything in the universe good. And what happens at the micro level happens at the macro level. So as we embrace wholeness as the truth of our being, we also support the whole world in doing the same. What we do for ourselves, we do on behalf of everyone. There is only this one life going on, the one loving, all-giving, perfect intelligence. And I am one perfect pattern of infinite potential. As I focus on my oneness, I discovered that, in fact, all of who I am and the world around me is really a conspiracy of good, a conspiracy of wholeness. In this I find rest. Rumi tells us, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. So for our meditation today, let's take a walk in this field together. So I invite you to find a very comfortable way of sitting and being, and bring attention to your breath. And allow this breath to regulate all parts of your being, your physical body, your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, your essential self. And feel all of these parts pointing to a beautiful wholeness that is true about you. And now I invite you to breathe in and out of your heart. Allowing this heart energy to fill your entire being, sensing its warmth, its radiance, and its light. Imagine inside of your heart energy that there is a field. And place yourself inside of this field, sensing into the soft grass touching your bare feet, the soft, gentle breeze against your skin. Notice all the bright, living colors around you, the lushness of the flowers, the sweet chirping of the birds. There is a fragrance that is alive in the air. Each particle is salient, sentient, and wise. Everything here is luminous and in communication with every other thing. The air is speaking the language of the grass, and the birds are singing to the flowers. Now bring the fullness of your being into this field, welcoming all of your thoughts and feelings, as well as any shadow aspects of yourself, known and unknown, inviting all of you to be here. Allow yourself to be informed, to be changed by your own dazzling darkness as you receive the invaluable messages previously hidden. Bring all of you into this field in your heart and allow each part to be filled with your gratitude, to be filled with your appreciation, to be filled with your compassion. And now allow each part to be informed by the field itself. Allow each part to find its place inside of the wholeness that is here, the wisdom that is here. Sense the edges softening inside of the interconnectedness. They are finding their way home in you. Say to yourself, as the universe, I am ever awakening to my wholeness. As the universe, I am ever awakening to my wholeness. There is nothing to figure out here, no problems to solve, no good, bad, right, wrong here, inside of this deep purposefulness of interconnection. Inside this deep wholeness, everything belongs. Heaven and earth kiss each other here. Allow your perception of who you are and how you see the world to be changed by your new wholeness and new empowerment. Look upon the world now with new eyes. Where there was brokenness, you now see possibilities. Rumi says, now let me sit here on the threshold of two worlds, lost in the eloquence of silence. Take another deep breath. Breathe in this grass the soul is lying down in. Perceiving this new world that is indeed too full to talk about. For this is the way it really is.
Thank you, Lisa. Great meditation. I always like Rumi. Yes, let's join each and every one of us in this field beyond this separation, beyond this duality, beyond good and bad. Let's join together in this field of wholeness. Let's see each other there. So hopefully there was something that was said or even sung. Can you see clearly now? Or the special reading, can you get into the wholeness that touched and moved you today? And what we're inviting you to do also is join us on Wednesdays, 12 noon Pacific time, on Zoom for our special mid-week inspiration led by Don, and I'm there as well. We can collaborate together, and any thoughts and insights that you have, we get an opportunity to share together. Life occurs. Yes, there are some things that can knock us down or knock us to our knees sometimes. But down on our knees, we can pray. But you don't have to do it by yourself. You can call Silent Unity 24 hours, 7 days a week, and someone will be there to support you in your prayer request. As we move forward in this ministry, gosh, we just thank you for all of your prayers, and thank you for your donations that allow us to keep doing what we're doing. If you haven't donated before, just invite you to consider it. Go on a website, be able to click the donate button, or you can donate another way, via phone, very easy, through text. As we wrap all of this up, there is only one presence and one consciousness, and we're tapping into this now with our prayer for protection. As it comes up on the screen, let's say it together. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We're the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. And just know, everywhere you go and anything that you do, God is there, and all is well. God bless you all. Thank you for joining us.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day.